Hello, joggers. Oh, right. So, we're back here again, but I have other issues with X-Plane. Actually, I don't have problems with X-Plane. I've got problems with the streaming software that I use. It's reset all of my settings, which is very annoying. So I need to sort that out. So that's going to happen. I'm going to have to do some audio tests, and then we're going to do a flight without auto switched on, and see if that solves the reliability problem that we had with X-Plane. Oh, okay. Now, give me a second, and I'm going to try and listen to this audio, make sure it works fine. Back in a mo. Oh, okay. Thank you for your patience. So this is now looking good. I think it's sounding good as well, but we'll see. So we're back here with our A330-900. Hopefully today we're going to make it to Bilbao. We're going to... I can't even climb the stairs because it's locked on the centre. But we're going to pretend that we've dived into this cockpit. And we're here. Ta-da! And we can get this aircraft set up. Go to the checklists. Again, I'm going to skip the checklists because we keep crashing. So, first things first, we have got the external power. A and B is on. I'm going to switch off the white lights. Get the IRSs spinning. The lasers lasering. Click, 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 click. We're going to get the APU switched on. Takes a moment before that becomes active. There we go. Turn on the standby while we're there. Switch over the evacuation to captain and purser. I've already turned on the crew supply. All of the white lights are off. And I'm just going to arm the emergency lights. Bong. Can't really see my screen, so let's turn up the brightness. And where's the brightness for those? There. So it's going to take 7 minutes to align the IRSs. While that is doing that, we are going to switch on, not switch on, we are going to go to init. We are flying from LPPT / LLE B is Bilbao BB. Yes, it is. So we'll insert that one. So Exeter 1 November to ZMR, then to TOS D, and then near. Really, really hope this solves it. Even if we're not going to get the good satellite imagery for a bit, I can figure that out separately. I just want to understand if that's the real cause. And if it's not, it might be the aircraft, in which case I'll try a different aircraft. So, ISCS, loading not loading, yeah, loading performance. Block fuel, we're going to need not very much fuel. Not even going to do a proper flight plan. We'll do 50 tons, it's more than enough. Stick a bunch of passengers on, 300 will do. We'll just shift the weight more centrally. And we will do quick D, refuel, apply these load settings, go to weight and balance, reset to current. Zero fuel weight, center of gravity is 24.8%. Zero fuel weight is 272, fuel is 50 tons. So, pax number 300. Cost index, we'll call it 85. Cruise level will be 380. And then we go into IRS init, align on ref, confirm align, and that aligns the laser gyros to the GPS system, which is the most accurate location source that we have on board. Let's go to flight plan. What's the weather doing? Because I saw an aircraft land on that runway there. So let's just get our bearings. So we're in the tower here. It's not really where I meant to go. So I saw an aircraft land not on... Would it be on 02? It would have been on 02. Okay. What we can also do is pull up X-Pilot. See if you can see that. So we are connected. If I just expand this down, there's nobody online. If I type .wx, LPPT, I'll give us the weather, which is LPPT 02, that's the second day of the month, so 2nd of June, 1900 Zulu, so 7 o'clock Zulu time. The wind here is from a direction of 340 at 16 knots. Visibility is effectively unlimited, so 999 is just unlimited. Basically means greater than 10 kilometers. There's a few clouds at 300 feet. The current temperature is 18 degrees Celsius. The dew point, which is when the moisture in the air condenses, is 12 degrees. And our pressure setting is QNH 1022. So, what was the... So 340, which lines us up for a 02 runway takeoff. Okay. So if we go into here, click on LPPT, departure, runway 02, Exeter 1 November, departure, insert that. That should now, if I flip this across to plan mode, you can see we're going to take straight off from runway 02, up to MPAD, and then to the northeast, which is where Bilbao is. That's a good start. So we'll get up to Exeter up here, which is at the just before the 80-mile mark from the airport, and then Tosti is beyond 160 miles. Right, so we've got our route in, but we don't have our performance set up in here yet. So I think we go back to init, and then we go to next screen. Zero fuel weight was 372.5. 372.5. That gives us that zero fuel weight there. Our block fuel is 50 kilos. 50 kilos. 50 tons, 50 kilos won't even start the engines. So all this is set up, which is what I normally forget to do. Progress page, so 380 is near enough to our optimal flight, optimal altitude, Giant.
Ortug, then Ultit, SX, and ILS 02, 37 tracker miles.
Okay, Giant, which is an Atlas Airlines. Sorry if that blew your ears drums out. It also blew mine out as well. So there we go. So just while we're down here, we're going to arm the spoilers. IRS alignment in 2 minutes. Let's set our altitude straight up to 38,000 feet. There's no restrictions stopping us from going straight to 38,000. We're going to put this back into arc mode. It says map not available because we're still waiting for the IRSs to align. The doors are closed. What else do we need to do up here? Lights. So we're going to put the nav lights on and the logo light. We are going to turn our engines on in a second, so we'll turn the beacon light. And that's all we need for now. We've got the APU on. Got the APU bleed on and the APU generators on, otherwise there'll be a light there, so we can now turn off the external power. And you can hear that we've now got air coming through the...
Just fly 1507 for Lisbon traffic, descending to ILS, runway 02, passing Nevouj. Then we'll fly PSX, now 5,000 feet.
Okay, so got some incoming traffic, 146 for V1, 146 for V rotate, 147 for V2. So V1 is decision speed, which means that because VR is when you're rotating the aircraft, it actually means that we'll have enough runway left over to stop the aircraft all the way up to the point of rotation, which is nice. V2 is our best rate of climb with a single engine. So at our takeoff speed, if an engine fails at the worst possible moment, I'm going to throw in a bag of rudder towards the engine that's failed, and we'll climb out at 147 knots plus probably 5 knots in case there's any wind. And that's going to get us up and away from the ground as safely as possible with a single engine. So we are good to go here. We've got the lights on, we're on internal power. Need to wait for the IRSs to align, which I guess they have because we've now got GPS primary on the left hand side. Ground spoilers are armed, TCAS is standby, so we need to turn... not with no air traffic control. So we've got speed, dash dash dash, altitude set, QNH is incorrect, be 1022, and that should also change over there, which it is. That's showing us on the ground there. Marvellous. Let us now hide that window so we can go to plugins. Better pushback. Start
Ground to
pushback.
cockpit. Please show me where you want to go. Ground to cockpit. Go is driving us.
Runway 02, Lisbon.
Okay, so we're now going to get a pushback tug, and also an aircraft somewhere nearby. Somewhere nearby. I'm sure it said on the ILS, which means it should be around here somewhere. That is a good looking aircraft. And you can see the beeping noise, the nose is going to raise up. See my cursor? I'm going to leave my cursor just at the bottom of the fuselage there.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Okay, so I'll leave my mouse cursor where it is, and you can watch the body of the aircraft lift up. He's moving forward. Oh, I've lost my mouse cursor. There we go. You'll see it anyway, but watch the gap between the top of the tug and the bottom of the aircraft fuselage. There we go. Lifting it up. And that's what happens in real life as well. Plenty of YouTube videos out there showing you that. Just noticed our chocks are still in, so let's...
Still connected in bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
It's quite loud, that guy, isn't he? So if we go to ground services, disconnect the power cart and disconnect the chocks, turn off the parking brake, flick the ignition
Starting
across.
pushback. You may start the engines.
Good, because I already am. And a radio call, of course. Lisbon traffic, Tomjet 84 Romeo pushing back from stand 301 onto Victor, Lisbon. Okay, we're now legal. Pushing back. Where did that plane go? Didn't land, did it? Don't see it anywhere. Oh, there it is. Let's get rid of X-Pilot for a moment, just while we're enjoying this landing. I am going to turn on the runway turn-off lights just for a bit of extra drama.
There's no traffic, jet fly 1507, final runway 02.
Traffic, Giant 577, established ILS 02.
There we go, so we've got a GTI behind it as well. You see two aircraft land. This is going to push us back right onto Victor over there.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Set parking brake. Checked. Turn on the other engine.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
And now that we've pushed, we'll set the flaps to 1. Built on. Portable devices to auto. Beacons on. Turn on the wing light. Nose light is on. Leave this. Set the strobes to auto. And then we'll turn on the turn the landing lights. Oh, I'm missing the landing. Missing the landing.
Lisbon traffic, Giant 577, fully established ILS 0270.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. And signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
That GTI is probably going to be maybe a 747 or a, looks like a 747. I think I see some outboard engines. Yes, 747 cargo freighter. Right, so we've got both engines are on. That is armed.
Lisbon traffic, jet fly 1507, vacated runway via Hotel 4.
Lisbon traffic, Tomjet 84 Romeo taxiing to holding point for runway 02, Lisbon. So that just lets the Giant know that we're not going to proceed onto the runway. So flaps are down. I really hope this works. I do enjoy flying X-Plane online. with you all. Now when you're light like this, it's very easy to overspeed. We've got no... the throttles are back as far as they will go, but there's still 19% of continuous N1 thrust, which is still quite a lot. I'm going to go to November 2, I think, this one here. Really would like to watch this. 747 land.
Lisbon traffic, it's 5107, vacated Hotel 4, now taxi via Uniform 4, Alpha 5 until Terminal 1.
Okay, so I'll just stop here. I'm going to hop outside, so it may get a bit noisier, but it will be worth it. How cool is that? Very slow approach. Okay, so what we can do, we don't have to wait for them to get off the runway. Tomjet, Lisbon traffic, Tomjet 84 Romeo lining up into position, runway 02, Lisbon. That was awful. Forgot how to word words. They are still on the runway, that's fine. This is entirely legit. Turn on strobes, turn on landing lights, set the nose light to take off. The correct phraseology is lining up.
Traffic, Giant 577 vacated at Hotel 4 and taxiing via uniform.
Lining up 02, but that's it, no departing. Lisbon traffic, Tomjet 84 Romeo rolling, runway 02, Lisbon. Heels on the floor. Engines are coming up together. Something's not right, I don't care. Let's go. Pitch, trim, disagree. I don't care. I didn't set the flap. The expected flap for takeoff, but that's fine. Obviously not in real life. Positive rate, gear up. So that was us over speeding the flaps for some reason. Feels like we're in why does it feel like we are in direct law? because of the... So what that means is we don't have the flight envelope protection that we normally would. At least it hasn't crashed yet. So, flying with manual trim at the moment. It's quite annoying, to be honest with you. Turn on autopilot, which we should still have. And while that's climbing us up, gears up, flaps are up, retract the armed speed brake. So, nav, ATC, transponder, standby. Okay, so we did have, if we go to recall, status, so they're both normal now. What was the problem it was having? I think it's happy now. Do you know what? Default scenery isn't so bad. Especially at this time of night. So this is what I'm looking for. I'm going to turn off the labels. Just check that. Yeah, aircraft labels are off. It's actually a lot more realistic when you don't know the aircraft that you're seeing. Let me get some better screenshots as well. See, now that you would never know if you're looking at satellite scenery or not. Seen less real scenery outside of a real plane. So, coming through 10,000 feet, which means we can, well, first of all, we shouldn't have the APU on anymore. We can turn off the seatbelt sign, cut smooth air, we can turn off the landing lights, beacon light stays on, wing lights can come off, and we can turn off the tail light, but we'll keep our wing lights on. Nose lights, that can go away because the nose lights are already inside the belly of the plane. Runway turn off lights can also go off. Strobes are on, beacon remains on, APU bleed can be turned off, and then just check that we've got pack flow, pack is in auto, no white lights, no warnings on the upper and lower ECAMs, everything's looking good. Let's just hope that we can get to Bilbao. Ooh, there's a river down there. Fantastic. You see the coast of Portugal there. A little bit of a hill in the foreground. Some bodies of water. Fantastic. Okay, we are on our way. Even remember to lock the door, apparently. Okay, so let's just check that we're going to have enough fuel for this flight. Yeah, you probably should do that sort of thing on the ground, but we are winging it today. So if we go to flight plan, we will land with an estimated 37 tons of fuel on board. So it's going to be a 13-ton
Lisbon traffic, Giant 577. Can anyone advise where to find a cargo ramp?
cargo ramp. Look at chartfox.org, that'll tell you. Has that guy been taxiing around looking for the cargo ramp all this time. That's quite amusing. Okay, so climbing through flight level 140, because we're on the standard pressure setting. We are maintaining around about 308 knots, but you can see our Mach number is increasing. And that's because, not because the air is getting less dense, although kind of. It's actually, Mach number is to do with, is a function of temperature. So the speed of sound changes with temperature. So as it's getting colder, we look down here, so the saturated air temperature is -1 degree Celsius, which means that the temperature outside soaking the aircraft is -2, but the temperature on the total aircraft temperature is 17 degrees positive. Why is there a difference? Well, there's friction going over the body of the aircraft, which heats it up. So compared to the -3 degrees outside, the friction over the aircraft is actually heating up the aircraft by 19 degrees. It's amazing, really. That much heating. It also explains why when you're like re-entering from orbital speeds, just how much heat is generated when we're already seeing 20 degrees of heat just from flying at 300 and... what's our ground speed? 405 knots. That's about 460 miles an hour across the ground. Really quick. Through 18,000 feet, flight level 180, which is the transition altitude in the United States. And is it Canada as well? Probably Canada as well. They're quite aligned on this stuff. Okay, so if we just zoom out, so Exeter is the exit point of our departure of our SID, Standard Instrument Departure Route. We've got Fatima off to the left hand side of the nose. We're going to keep going to the north, up to Tosti, and then was there Nia? There's Nia. And then we've got DGO at the top there. And the pink dot. Oh, sorry, so we've got our top of descent in 190 miles. We'll start our descent, so we'll get the top of our descent here, start our descent there, almost a ballistic trajectory, and then we'll get down to the pink dot, which I think is clean speed. So that's where we'll start lowering the flaps. So the airport will be just towards the top there. But it's looking okay so far. Seems quite stable. I do have a feeling that it might be auto-ortho that's breaking it. Like I say, it's fine if it is. I'm actually on a very old version of it. So I could try upgrading it. And then we've got simheaven.com. They do some really good VFR scenery across Europe. They've got X-World Europe, X-World America. But they've got X-World Pro coming out soon, which is supposed to be like Sim 2020 levels of VFR quality. Drink of choice for your captain this evening is sparkling water. Very posh. Dinner, anyone? It's a little smiling face, isn't it? Marvellous. Obviously it was built in France, where lunch is very, very important. What is this? Is that the emergent... yeah. The oxygen mask? Some gloves over there. In case you suspect anyone of smuggling anything. That's definitely not why they're there. Do you like the lights on the Airbuses? It's backlit well. So it's 9:20 UK time, local time. It says here we will arrive at our destination at 10:10 local time. So we've got about 50 minutes of flight time left. I think the sky turns into night much better in X-Plane 12 these days. Nice lit up clouds in the horizon. I'm sure we've all seen it do that before. Lovely. Also, it wouldn't do that if the world was flat, by the way, because the sun is lower in the sky than the clouds, and the clouds are higher up, but we're not in line with the sun, which is what we would be if they were lit up and the world was flat. So, there we go. Sorry, flat earthers. So, top of our screen here, you can just start to see Bilbao is now in view. So we'll go to DGO, turn left, and then that should line us up with a runway 30 arrival. Let's see, so ZMR, NEA, DGO, let's see if there's actually an arrival, published arrival. So we want to land on ILS 30 Zulu. There is a DGO2 Golf, I think was the one that Simbrief suggested for us. So that's DGO. Oh no, so that's going to line us up better for 30. Perfect. So that's going to be... so there's an altitude constraint, I guess, at DGO. That's what that circle means. And DGO, so flight restriction, flight constraint, altitude restraint, constraint, flight level 174. Je ne sais pas. Hop là. I think this is lasting longer than it did last time. So it says trim tank transfer, which means that if I go to the fuel page, fuel, you can now start to see that the fuel tank is increasing. So fuel is going down into the tail from the main tanks and the wings. That's going to weigh down the tail just to balance us out a bit better. So our gross weight centre of gravity, you can see, is 31.9, should go to 32, there we go. As more weight is transferred towards the back. That's just trying to keep us nice and balanced. It's better to have weight holding you down rather than having to use elevator trim, which introduces a drag. Still haven't turned my predictive wind shear on yet. Not that I think we'll need it in Spain this evening, but there we go. Didn't turn off the engine start. Does that work? No, I think we've done that before, and it don't. I think it displays on here. What does this do? Nothing. Oh, the perils of a bored pilot, pressing all the buttons. So down here, 7 tons now in the tail tank. So, as the sky outside starts to turn darker, let's do landing performance. We'll be landing a runway 30. We'll be landing with full flaps. Air conditioning will be on. Brake mode will be low. We will be using reverse thrust. Let's hit compute. So, we'll have a little bit of margin. If we just set the brake mode to medium, going to give us a lot more margin. So let's use a medium level of auto brake. Trim tank is still transferring 8 tons out of fuel. Don't actually know the capacity of the tail tank. But we've now got almost as much in the tail tank as we do in each wing, or at least the main tanks in the wing. Fuel used since takeoff is 8,000 pounds. Now they say pounds, but last time we were flying I did change it to use imperial units. Yes, okay, so that's fine. It's all using imperial. So that scene there reminds me of a flight I took to Delhi just over a year ago. We're flying over Georgia, near Azerbaijan, and there was a view like that out the window. It's gorgeous. You see the Terminator line overhead, so it's dark over there, it's light over there. We are literally at the Terminator line. Is that a star? There's a star. You can see the stars are coming out now. Why are my engines rolling back? That must be because we've reached our cruise altitude. So the trim tank transfer TTT is completed with 10.5 tons now in the tail. More than in either of the main tanks in the wings. We should start to see the wingtip tanks, I don't know what they're called. The wingtip tanks should start to flow into the main tank shortly. taken all that fuel in there, so there's 15 tons in each wing, and that's just holding the wing down, of holding the ends of the wings down, so that the lift that it's producing doesn't bend the wings up. It's not structural. It's not like the wings are going to collapse if that weight went away. It just reduces the stress. It means that these aircraft can fly. Things like that just mean that these aircraft can fly for decades if they're well maintained. That's why we do things like derate the thrust on takeoff sometimes. I didn't this one, just used Toga. But you normally derate the thrust and just extends the life of the engines. All these little things just makes the components last longer, makes flying safer. And it stops my X-plane from crashing, which is good. So it is holding up for now, getting 87 frames per second at the moment. Granted, it's not really loading in a lot of scenery. Still getting 80 frames a second. There. 81 when moving fairly quickly through the cockpit. So that's with the multi-core rendering that came in X-Plane 12.4, 12.3, 12.4. It's massively improved the performance of this. So the rendering pipeline is now, which is on the CPU, which I guess loads all the information and sends it through the GPU to render, that is now multi-core, whereas previously it was single core. It was a massive so, okay, so now the trim tank is pushing it back into the main tanks. Sorry, the single core rendering pipeline was a massive bottleneck, was the word I was looking for. So it's taken all that effort to push that way, and now it's pushing all that fuel that way. As you do. And we've used just under 10 tons so far. I'm going to estimate, oh, we already know, don't we, 13 tons for the whole flight. I was going to estimate 12, but 13's probably about right. Because we're in the cruise now, we're using 11 tons of fuel total, both sides, per hour. So, we've got a big milestone ahead of us. We've got our, well, first of all, equitime point. So that's the middle point between the origin and the destination. So that's the halfway point. And then a little bit further up here, we've got our top of descent. So, top of descent is more than 100 miles away. So it's there, it's about 110 miles away. That's quite nice. Turn down the volume while I hop outside. "85 frames a second. 87. Wow. Okay, I will be back in just a moment. I need to go and be a good dad and just make sure the child is falling asleep. I'll be back in a moment. As you can tell from the mouse moving around, I am back. Slightly noise because Lisbon ground is now online. Ooh, that's a worry. Back into my seat. So now just under 80 miles to our top of descent. What we can do, have a look on here, see what the next fixed altitude is. So flight level 70. So let's say we're being cleared to flight level 70. And I want to see what happens when we get to the top of descent, because on the Boeing it would automatically start to descend. So we are in altitude cruise mode, but I think on the Airbus I would have to push that in. So we're going to managed what are we going to descent mode, DES, and it will start to descend. Will it start to descend immediately? Let's go to 370, and then if I push that in, that's now managed descent, so yeah, it's immediately going back down. I don't want that. Let's go back to alt cruise, and it's going to basically sort of assume that that was maybe a little bit of turbulence that just knocked us off our flight, off our cruise altitude, and it's just going to remedy the situation. So yes, if I set that to 7,000, flight level 70, and just leave it, what happens? I think until you give it the instruction by pushing it in, it assumes flight level 380 is where you want to be. Might be wrong. On the Boeing, we'll just start to descend because that's sensible. Now Airbuses are quite sensible the way that they're set up, so this might do exactly the same thing. So we can track the top of descent in here. Actually, if I've got the progress page. Nope, not in there. So flight plan of descent 2044. So it's going to be 6.5 minutes time. So we've now got no fuel. Didn't have any fuel to start off with in the center tank between the wings. We've now got the minimum fuel in the tail tank, trim tank. We've got 13 tons in each of the center tanks. Wing tanks, main wing tanks. So we've got traffic. You see it there? The only reason we know it's there is because on our navigation display, 9,000 feet below us, we see there's an aircraft heading that way. There it is. I think that's much better without the labels, don't you? So, turning to head up towards DGO. In a moment we'll start descending. 7,000 still in the window, but we haven't told it if it needs to start descending yet. I think anybody who says they don't like spotting other planes in the air when you're flying is just lying. So, still got 4 minutes to our top of descent. What I can do is skip through to the arrival page, the approach page. If I go up here, bring up the Xpilot window again, type in .wx lebb. So the wind is 300 at 7 knots. So we type that in by going 300/07. Pop that into there. The QNH is 1022, same as when we took off. Temperature is 18 degrees, and we will make a decision at 200 feet on the radio altimeter. So we should now get that on the at the bottom here. Sorry, at the top there. Radio 200. What would appear in the bottom, but I think that may be the Boeing. Still see that aircraft over there, disappearing into the clouds. Okay, so let's have a look. The flight plan, top of descent. is it 22 miles? Yep, 21 miles. That's now counting us down. So we do 1 mile every 7 seconds. Just confirm that when that goes to 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 7 to 8 seconds. But very quick. Okay, 14 miles to the top of descent. I'm sure you've all seen that craze where passengers watch the map on the seat back of the seat in front, the screen on the seat in front for the whole flight. Kind of what this feels like. Not sure I want to say what it's called. This is a family-friendly show. That's quite cool. A little bit of cloud at this level. As the sun sinks below the horizon. Oh, it's getting tense. We are mere seconds away. 7 nautical miles, so 42 seconds. And I think when it gets there, it's going to fly straight through whilst maintaining 38,000 feet, because effectively by this point we haven't told it it's cleared down. We've just turned the knob, but we haven't said it's cleared. But I think it will give us a bing somewhere. Turn off the fuel page. 2 miles, 1 mile, here we go. So it says top of descent reached on the primary flight display, but it does absolutely nothing. Also says top of descent reached on there, so push it in. What we'll see first is the fuel flow to the engines will reduce, so the fuel is reducing. As that reduces, you've got where's the N2? It's vibration. I have to go to the engine page to get N2. So the N2 is reducing, that's the turbine, and then the fan speed at the front is slowing down as well. Because it's a Rolls-Royce, it actually has a third turbine as well. It's a triple spool aircraft. So now it's going quiet. I like this part of the flight. It goes quiet when you descend. And you realise how noisy it's been for the whole flight. So we need to be very careful. This aircraft up ahead, we're about to descend through the same level as it, but we are 15 miles away from it, so we should be fine. But if it decided to turn suddenly into our path, or it slowed down, or whatever, it becomes a threat. So 15 miles over there somewhere, same level now, is that plane that we saw before. But we don't have any TCAS alerts or anything because it's far enough away. Oh, some funny turning thing there. So we have a an altitude constraint of flight level 100 somewhere. I'm guessing that must be DGO, so that must be the flight level 100. but because of our altitude, we'll actually be at flight level 174 when we pass through there, so that's absolutely fine. Just give us the flight constraint up here, doesn't it? Oh yeah, I've just looked at that. So flight constraint, the altitude constraints there. Thrusters in descent mode. Vertical navigation is in descent mode as well. These pink lines here, so it's detected it's selected a managed speed, and it's basically going to keep us between those two speeds there. So as it starts to creep up towards that speed, it would slow us down to there. Now, typically on a smooth flight like this, it's not going to get too far away from this triangle. If there's a bit of turbulence, if there's some winds, then you can sort of move around quite a bit between these 2 points. It's all good. All normal. What I can do, so here you've got the green cross, which is the green vertical one is lateral navigation. So are we on this green line here? Yes, we are. And the horizontal one is remarkably vertical navigation. So are we in line with our descent profile? And yes, we are. But we can add some other stuff to the screen. There we go. So that's always fun. So you can see here our nose is pointing slightly to the left to maintain that track. So our nose is where the yellow marker is, but because the wind is from the left, our direction of travel across the ground is actually where this green line is. So what you can actually see is our nose is where that square is, but our flight path is to the right and slightly below that nose line here, because aircraft have got a slight nose up altitude to maintain level flight, so your flight path is usually slightly below the nose. And you do that by switching across to flight path something or other, or you can switch it back to normal mode, heading track mode, and it will just give you your heading. That aircraft in front of us is making really good progress. They're pulling away from us. Wherever they are. Much prefer this without the labels though. Sometimes you just can't see an aircraft you saw before. Some Spanish city lights. We should probably make a radio call. We'll do that at DGO. So I'm going to arm the speed brakes, I always forget to do that. And then as we get down to 10,000 feet, we'll start putting some lights on. See, I don't think that's too bad. I've seen cities that look like that from the air. Maybe the dotted lights aren't particularly great, but the lit up area there, little runway, so there's an airport just there too. That looks pretty real. Yeah, it's not Flight Sim 2024, whatever it is these days. Microsoft needs to learn not to put the year of the release in product names, because it dates them very fast. See also Windows Server 2025. So ground spoilers are armed, trim tank is transferred. We should be well below max landing weight, but let's just check. We've got a weight and balance, reset to current, max landing weight is 421 tons, and we are below that. That's sort of 409 tons. Still pretty heavy. Bilbao traffic, Tomjet 84 Romeo, Airbus A330-900. We are 20 nautical miles southwest of Delta Golf Oscar on a Delta Golf Oscar 2 Golf. Arrival for Bilbao runway 30. Bilbao. So what we'll do at DGO is give our ETA. So we've got ETA of landing is 13. The runway is over there somewhere. Hiding in the gloom. I think it's actually behind some hills, which is why we can't see it from here. So DGO is 12 miles away. So it looks like it was auto-ortho anyway, because this is... I'm going to jinx us here. This is rock solid. Boom, kablow. Bilbao traffic, Tomjet 84 Romeo, crossing Delta Golf Oscar, flight level 180, inbound on the DGO, 2 Golf arrival, ETA 13, Bilbao. So for position reports and time reports, you give the minutes after the hour. So 13. Tempted at this point just to take over flying, but my joystick squeaks, and you're going to get very annoyed at it. When I say you're going to get very annoyed at it, I'm going to get very annoyed at it. So let's see we've been cleared down to 3,000 feet. What we'll do is the aircraft will just, it's in managed mode, it's just going to step us through the altitude constraints on our way into Bilbao. It's nice like that. So we're a little bit slow there. So we can either lower the nose and pick up a little bit of, trade a little bit of altitude for speed. So we're doing, descending at 1600 feet per minute. Or it can add some thrust, which it's not doing either of. It's happy just to stay where it is in that band, but not hitting that line. So it's still showing 13 past the hour for landing, so 16 minutes to landing. Seems quite a long time when you're already descending through flight level 140. But I'm sure it's probably right. What I'm looking for is, how do I turn down the backlights? Not that one then. Floodlights off. There we go. Do you like a little bit of floodlights? But not a lot. Especially at night. And then integrated lights. Do you like them? Mildly bored, can you tell? Let's just see what lights can I turn down here. No. Probably should be flying the plane. So coming through 12,000 feet. Fuel burn is 1.6 tons either side per hour, which is nothing. Just idling. Flight idle, anyway. So it's just raising the nose now. There's 2100. Still don't have the airport site. So where are we in the world? We are travelling along the north coast of Spain. So we are here. We're going to head up here. We're going to connect with this. Excuse me. With this airway. We're not really going to go on the airway. We're going to go through some waypoints. KLM about to come this way. It looks like we were following a Lufthansa. We're going to turn left and head up to Bilbao, just here. These are the hills to the south that I thought was blocking the view before. They might still be blocking the view now. those hills are why we're taking such a wide turn. Oh, we should be able to see the KLM. Or not. So, a few more lights. Getting really dusky. Okay, so we're below 10,000 feet now, so let's get the seatbelt signs back on. We are going to put both our nav lights and our tail lights on. We are going to turn our landing lights on, so we are super visible. And those are all the lights. I'm going to put the wing lights on as well. And if I turn it down for you, this will still blow my ears out, but I can hop outside. Quite bright, isn't it? Very impressive, these machines, aren't they? Okay, so we are at CEGAM, turning under the approach. There's nothing on TCAS that I can see. So can we really be 9 minutes away from landing to 8,000 feet? Seems like a peculiar landing, a peculiar arrival, but we'll just go with it. And just to improve your view, I'm going to take X-Pilot out, because there's no controllers online anyway. You may notice we have a new logo. That's because I lost all my settings on OBS and I couldn't remember what the font was that I used, so yeah, new logo. New logo day. So engines are rolling back. Next altitude constraint is flight level 60. That's what the magenta numbers are. That's why we're going so slowly and so low. And this is effectively, if I turn the landing system less, you can now see that because we're flying an ILS approach, the localizer, that diamond there, is going to shift into the middle, and the aircraft will start to follow that. And as we get a bit closer, we'll also see another diamond appear from the top, and it'll move down to that yellow line, and that is the glide slope radio beacon. Then there we go. So the diamond is coming in there. It's going to drop down. So when that gets down to here, we will switch from nav mode to, well, missed in nav mode, but it'll actually put it into approach mode over there. It should arm localizer mode. Descent mode is currently on, and it's going to start descending with the glide slope. Once that shouldn't be descending just yet. Not when the glide slope is above, so that's okay. So we've got a deceleration point in just a moment. That's the little descend and then flatten out while your speed reduces. So we are on localizer. We're not yet on the glide slope. I'm going to push that in, get back to QNH 1022. Runway is in sight. So what I'm going to do now is something very, very, very stupid. I'm going to disconnect the autopilot. And the aircraft is going to lurch forward. That's nice, isn't it? Why has it just done that? So I've now got bags and bags and bags of elevator, of nose up elevator. This is definitely in direct law. This is flying more like a Cessna than a Airbus. So manual trim. So there, we've intercepted the glide slope, it thinks. So it's got glide slope capture mode, that's the star next to GS. So once that diamond hits, it's now gone into glide slope mode. That was me moving the throttle, so we're now out of auto throttle mode. We are going very fast here. Loads and loads and loads of nose up trim. I think we're going too fast here. I don't have a button assigned for speed brake. So speed brake out. Direct law in an Airbus is awful. Gear down. So load the flaps too early. Almost on ILS here. That tone typically means that the gear's not down, but it is down. So we should now have enough drag from the flaps and the gear being down. We don't need the speed brake out. That tone is very annoying. Let's go to full flaps now. worried that I'm going to run out of elevator authority here because I'm having to throw loads and loads and loads of nose up elevator here. I'm really not sure why.
Too low. Terrain.
My gear is down.
Too low. Terrain.
100 above.
Clearly on approach.
Sink rate. Sink rate. Sink rate.
Minimum.
Land.
100,
Sink rate.
50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 10.
Harsh. Well floaty here.
5.
Okay, so I'm going to run off the end of the runway. Floated like a quaver. Just enjoy the view of these houses at the end of the runway going past. We've got a little excursion around Bilbao this evening. You're in luck. Not many people get to see Bilbao from the angle of being in a cockpit. So my feet are flat to the floor. Toe brakes are fully on, but it's just doing nothing. So yeah, that was partially my fault, entirely my fault. Gonna kill the engines here before I start a forest fire. Yeah. So another perfect landing. I think we're only 300 or 400 yards from the runway there. That's pretty good by my expectations. So yeah, welcome Airtours back to Bilbao. And I think with that amazing landing, we should call it a night. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time if you've got nothing better to do. Au revoir.